My fellow flames of amethyst, welcome back to another Wuthering Waves video, and more specifically, a Wuthering Waves lore video. Today, we will be discussing the true form of the character Fleur-De-Lys, who was introduced to us in the 2.0 story, and how she connects to the creature that the Order of the Deep believes to be the Sentinel, and why I believe this creature they worship isn't the Sentinel, but in fact is an impostor imitating the Sentinel, and how it could actually be the Thronodian, or a creature just as, if not more dangerous than the Thronodian. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment down below to let me know what you think of the theories behind this video. Without further ado, my fellow flames, let us begin this. So at the end of 2.0, we were introduced to an elven-looking girl who introduced herself to us as Cartethia, but only after she stops herself from speaking her true name, Fleur-De-Lys. And she may be, or at least is, connected to the Blessed Fair Maiden from the legend that Carlotta tells us from earlier on in the 2.0 story. However, in the secret trailer that was revealed to us earlier on this month, we witnessed a transformation within Cartethia, and then in the next frame, we see what looks to be a more adult and mature looking being standing before us, and she does not look like the innocent young woman we were introduced to prior, and it looks like we will be facing her in the upcoming story quests in 2.2 and beyond. Now, is it me, or does this adult Fleur-De-Lys look familiar? If you don't see it yet, hopefully by the end of the video you will. In the Church of the Order of the Deep, we see a huge statue resembling what clearly is meant to be the Sentinel. However, there is something off, something strange, something not right about the statue they worship. Around the map of Rinascita, there are various ruins, and within these ruins, there are all kinds of statues which also look to be resembling that of the Sentinel. However, these statues in the ruins have differences when compared to the ones in the city, and one of the obvious differences is that the statues in the ruins do not have the horn protruding from its head, whereas the one in the Cathedral of the Order of the Deep does. Now, why is that? Well, the Sentinel in this region is meant to be based off of the hippocampus, a creature from legends and mythology to be half horse and half sea creature. But there is another creature in legends and mythology that looks similar to that of the hippocampus, however is a more dark, aggressive, and potentially evil creature when compared to the hippocampus. And that, my fellow flames, is none other than the water Kelpy. The water Kelpy is a dark, shape-shifting beast whose true form is also half horse and half sea creature. The water Kelpy is a mythical shape-shifting water spirit, and it is usually described as a grey or white horse-looking creature able to adopt human form. Some accounts state that the Kelpy retains its hooves when appearing as a human, leading to its association within Christianity as the idea of Satan. Now, the reason I bring up this dark and twisted creature is because if you pay attention to how the acolytes of the Order of the Deep act towards people in the various stories of 2.0, so far they are not exactly the most kind-hearted people.
I can sense your fervent desire for the artifacts and the blessings from the Sentinel. But whether you are worthy of the terminals is for the Order to decide. If you willingly part with your wealth in devotion to the Order's divine cause, the door to forgiveness might still be open. But should you persist in your defiance, we'll have to escort you to the penitentiary for judgment. Mark my words, the day Montelli is brought to its knees by the Order and Phasalia will be the day you beg for the Sentinel's mercy. When that day comes, all shall be under the Order's control, and it will not be long in coming.
They are in fact rude, they cause various problems to people that do not follow their laws and rules, and they are very hostile towards echoes and people who adore them, like Phoebe.
What were you just doing? Members of the Order lead at the behest of the Sentinel. We do not fraternize with echoes. I hope I will never again find you violating the teachings of the Order. As punishment, you'll leave this afternoon will be revoked.
Now, if they were worshipping and speaking with the Sentinel, I don't think the Sentinel would appreciate them treating people in Echoes of Rinascita like this with such disrespect. Unless the creature they are talking to was never the Hippocampus Sentinel that we think, but in fact is the shape-shifting impostor that is the Water Kelpy. Another thing to support the evidence that the Kelpy has manipulated the people and taken the form of the Sentinel and evolved itself into tricking the people of Rinascita and Raguna, over here this is Kukella. Kukella is one of the robots of the Black Shores. Now the Black Shores in the Tether system, apparently the Tether system's depiction of the Sentinel is different to what is depicted in the modern day Rinascita and Raguna. Now Kukella has a code here. It tries to communicate with us using this specific code. Now the lore community deciphered this, and one of my viewers sent me this, and it deciphers as "don't trust the horse." That is what this translates to. If you go to Kukella in the Black Shores, talk to Kukella, there is a code here, and this code translates to "don't trust the horse," which again supports the theory that the horse-looking Sentinel isn't the Sentinel, but in fact is the Kelpy. And to even go further beyond, as you see here, this is from a singular frame of the 1.3 live stream. If you guys remember, there was a red screen and it was flashing images of everything going on in 1.3, and there is an image here of a horse-like creature. As you can see, hooves here, thin legs, hooves. It has a dorsal fin up here, and just this first part here doesn't look anything like the statues that we are seeing in Raguna or Rinascita. And the fact that this image was in a split second in the 1.3 live stream, and then we also have this image here of Kukella saying to us, "Don't trust the horse," is insane, which also supports the fact that the Kelpy is the mythical creature taking the form, or potentially taking the form, of the Sentinel and manipulating the people into thinking they are worshipping a Sentinel when actually it is a Threnodian or another evil mythical creature like the Kelpy manipulating them. Now, let's turn to the adult form of Fleur-De-Lys and connect the dots. Here, she has a horn protruding from her head. So does the statue in the Order's cathedral, and so do the creatures on the pendants of the acolytes of the Order of the Deep. Also, there are mysterious banners hidden around the old ruins in Rinascita, and guess what these banners have on them? A creature that looks almost identical to the one the statue resembles in the Cathedral of the Order of the Deep. Another thing these banners contain are an upside down symbol. Now these upside down symbols are called Fleur-De-Lys. And what is the name of the fair maiden? Fleur-De-Lys. And the grown-up woman we look to be facing in 2.x? Fleur-De-Lys. And what abilities do water kelpies have? Shape-shifting abilities, and more specifically, the ability to shapeshift into a humanoid form. But how can this adult Fleur-De-Lys possibly be the water kelpy when kelpies keep the hooves when they are in humanoid form? Well, in the trailer we also hear Phoebe say that things are happening because of a siren-like creature.
That the fish we saw earlier is connected to this siren.
Now sirens, like water kelpies, lure the unexpected and lure the weak and lure their prey into the territory to be devoured. There is another creature in legend and mythology that could also explain why Fleur-De-Lys does not have hooves like the kelpie human forms do. Now sirens, like water kelpies, lure the unexpecting and lure the weak-willed into their territory to be devoured by them. There is another creature in legend and mythology that could explain why Fleur-De-Lys does not have the hooves like the human form of a kelpie does. And this creature could be what Fleur-De-Lys truly is, the true form of Fleur-De-Lys. This could be who or what Fleur-De-Lys really is. And if I'm correct, then Kuro has taken the mythical creatures and combined them to fit the narrative of the story. The creature I am of course talking about is none other than the Nixie, or a Nix, a water spirit that is half human and half fish, that lives in a beautiful underwater palace in the oceans of the world, and mingles with humans by assuming a variety of physical forms, for example, that of a potential fair maiden or that of an older looking woman, or potentially making themselves completely invisible to the human eye. One of three attributes may betray the disguise of a Nixie, and these are that they are music lovers, they are excellent dancers, and they have the gift of prophecy. Usually malevolent, a Nix can easily be propitiated with gifts. In some regions, Nixies are said to abduct human children and lure people into the deep water to drown. According to other sources, Nixies have the ability to marry human beings and bear human-looking children. Now, at the end of 2.0, we are spoken to by a mysterious voice, which is supposed to be the voice of the Sentinel. When it speaks to us, it tells a prophecy just like the Nixies can do.
Command, unify, ascend, converge. Thou hast come at last. I am the Imperator. Aid me, O Arbiter, that we may return the lost unto the earthly realm.
So let me summarize so you guys can understand where I'm going with this. Fleur-De-Lys in the legend is portrayed to be a fair maiden that could sing and hypnotize the townspeople, like Nixies can in their legends. Fleur-De-Lys at the end of 2.0, when we meet her, is dancing on water, and Nixies in their mythos and legends are excellent dancers. And we are the only person that can see this Cartethia character.
Some family members mentioned you were speaking to a wall. I'm worried you might still be under Frivola's spell. See who? Are you truly alright?
Which means she made herself invisible to other people, like a Nixie can in the legend. Fleur-De-Lys looks to have a heavy connection to the sirens and a heavy connection to water. And Nixies lure their victims into water by singing and dancing like a siren can, and just like Phoebe said in the 2.x secret trailer, things are happening because of a potential siren looking creature. So I believe, my fellow flames, that Fleur-De-Lys is a Nixie, or at least is based off of a Nixie, and based off of a Kelpy, and these two legends and mythologies combined together, which would explain why the adult Fleur-De-Lys does not have hooves like a humanoid Kelpy, but instead is a water Nixie who can actually attain a full human form without looking too much like a horse or like an actual animal. This also means that the Fleur-De-Lys we are fighting in the trailer either is an impostor of the original Fair Maiden or is the original Fair Maiden, and that means the original Fair Maiden Fleur-De-Lys was in fact a Nixie slash Siren slash Kelsey hybrid all along from the very beginning. Don't forget also in the legend, Nixies can also bear human children. So there is another potential theory that Cartethia, the smaller version of Fleur-De-Lys, is in fact the daughter of the grown-up one that we see in the secret trailer. And not to mention that Nixies reside in a underwater palace, and there looks to be some sort of building or some sort of ruins underwater when we are fighting this grown-up version of Fleur-De-Lys, and that could also be the palace that is also in the legend of the Nixie, reimagined in Wuthering Waves. Another theory I have, which is a spin-off to what I've just been talking about, is the fact that the Fair Maiden Fleur-De-Lys that we are seeing and the Cartethia we are seeing is in fact the imposter, and the real Fleur-De-Lys and the real Fair Maiden of legend, Cartethia slash Fleur-De-Lys, whoever she is the one we saw in the image at the end of 2.0, the one that was chained up with a spear of light going through her chest. That could potentially lead to the fact that the real Fleur-De-Lys and the real Fair Maiden was defeated and potentially killed, and the Kelpy slash Nixie took on the form of the Fair Maiden to continue to manipulate the city's people, to manipulate the region's people of Rinascita to thinking who they are seeing isn't the Fair Maiden, but in fact is the imposter, which is the Nixie Kelpy, who is also showing themselves to be the Sentinel when actually it is the Thronodian. There you have it, my fellow flames. These are my thoughts and theories based around Fleur-De-Lys and who she potentially truly is, and what legends and mythologies surround her specifically in terms of the water Kelpy, in terms of Nixies, in terms of sirens, and potentially other mythical creatures that we haven't even discovered yet. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And if you want more lore videos in the future, please let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll speak to you on the next one. Take it easy.